Hello everyone, today we are doing the second episode of Inclusive Eco, which is our mini-series here at NEP, where we see how economics links to the world around us. So today we are joined with a postgraduate student who is studying behavioural economics and data science. If you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Lucy. I'm the paper editor for NEP, and as Ruby said, I'm studying behavioural economics and data science at Masters.
Okay, so first of all, I just wanted you to talk about your background and then how you became interested in behavioural economics.
So my background is in psychology. I did my undergraduate at UEA. It was 4 years because I did 1 year for a placement year, and as part of the placement year I worked with the problem solving team in Norfolk Constabulary, where I was doing a lot of research and sort of data science, data analysis type work, and I actually did a project which incorporated behavioural insights. So I rewrote some letters for Norfolk Constabulary using Mindspace, which is one of the behavioural change
softwares?
Model. Yeah. So it was really through that I became interested in data analysis and behavioural economics. I was originally looking at the data science masters at UEA, but the requirement for that was an undergraduate in mathematics or computer science or related. So then I was, searching, data science, and then I saw this one, behavioural economics and data science, and it just seemed perfect for me.
So that's really interesting, actually, your kind of choice. I would have naturally thought that because of your undergrad, you came in from the behavioural side, but actually you came in from the data analysis side. So your placement was, very important in structuring kind of what you've done next.
Yes, it was kind of the final push, I guess, because before I studied psychology, I was really interested in computer science, and I kind of kept that going. And then whilst I was studying psychology, I was trying to find other ways of sort of incorporating that, and the placement was really helpful because the problem solving side of it, that was all kind of psychology, and then the tasks I was given were very kind of data science. So
yeah, that's really interesting. So in terms of, obviously now you've got the psychology undergrad, the year in placement, how was the transition to the School of Economics, looking at some more economic theories? How did you find that?
So in terms of more of well-being and experience, it was really, really positive. I remember the summer after I graduated, being a bit nervous about how it's going to go, but all of the lecturers were really helpful, really supportive, and all of the students that I met on my course are also really lovely, so that helped a great deal. In terms of the economics, I struggled a little bit at the start of the year with the module. We have economic concepts, and it's the way it works is it's split into two. So you first start with microeconomics and then macroeconomics, and starting with micro, it's all about how consumers behave, or we're looking at two firms and how they behave, and economics is very sort of mathematical and quite rigorous subject, whereas psychology is a bit more
is some of it up to interpretation?
Yeah. In a way. I remember thinking I not disbelief, but just being this is so opposite to how I've been taught about how people would behave.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. In psychology, if you're applying such a mathematical explanation for behaviour, it's kind of seen as reductionist, and you're oversimplifying the behaviour. So that transition was a little bit harder, but now that we've moved on to macro, it's less of a problem because you're dealing with like the country's economy as a whole, or global economies. And from what I know about statistics and how it all converges around the average, that was a bit easier for me to understand, I guess.
Yeah, so would you say that most of your skills have been transferred from your undergrad, or actually that a lot of skills came from placement, or a mix of both? Kind of, okay, minus maybe the economic concepts part, what skills have been transferred between the undergrad and postgrad?
So I definitely say the statistics. It's, I think, a bit of a shock to some people that psychology has statistics, and a lot of the same concepts about linear regression, multiple regression. All of these things we learn in psychology anyway, and I think that's probably the harder module, econometrics, for people to get a grips with. So that was definitely transferable. I think the placement, the skills in data analysis definitely were transferred, and then I guess a little bit of the concepts, but the concepts are more sort of behavioural insights rather than behavioural economics.
So you briefly spoke about looking for data science focused masters from your previous interests in computer science and your placement. How did you go about looking for master's degrees? Obviously you studied at UEA previously, so you wanted to come back, or you looked elsewhere, or you were, had a bit of a constraint due to the behavioural economics side? Kind of, how did you go about that?
So I always wanted to stay at UEA because I'd been here for 4 years, and it just seemed, rather than like having to pick up and move somewhere else and get a grips with the new university like way of doing things, it just made the most sense to stay at UEA. So I was only ever looking at UEA masters. I wanted to do a master's just because psychology, the undergraduate for psychology is still very broad. Psychology is a bit of a hub subject, so you have to kind of specialise and do a master's. But that wasn't really for me because UEA has 3 psychology masters, I believe, the developmental, cognitive and the social one, I think, and they're very kind of like research based, and from what I like understood, the kind of jobs are like sort of research or like working in those specific fields, which didn't really interest me as much. So I wanted the data science masters to have a bit of like credibility around my skills, which before this are kind of like self-taught in a way. And I wanted to stay on because UEA offers like discounts for staying on, and if you get first in your undergraduate, you get a further discount for the masters. So the finances for me worked out to be about the same as my placement year, so it just made the most sense to stay on.
Yeah, no, that's really good, definitely. So you said about adding credibility to your previous skills. Why did you not want to go into work after you graduated? I presume that was because you needed to kind of pinpoint a little bit more after a psychology undergrad where you kind of want to go.
Yeah, so it was a couple of things. It was kind of narrowing down a field, but also I think just the job prospects. I think economics and also data science, they have much stronger prospects than psychology. And again, like if you haven't specialised after the undergraduate, it can be a bit difficult to find a job, I think, or the kind of jobs that I were interested in.
Yeah. So now that you've added this master's to your long list of skills, where do you look at going next? What kind of roles do you look at going into? What type of credibility has it added to your skills and your CV?
Yeah, so definitely the data science part of it is very strong, and behavioural economics as well in a different way, because it looks quite attractive on the CV, I think, and the UEA School of Economics, they have like, I think, either the first or the second best prospects for graduates from the school, like from UEA.
What roles specifically are you interested in?
So for me, it's more like data analysis. I see myself kind of working for a company, and maybe more like a consulting type of company that like another company would ask us for like a data science product, and then I would be like instrumental in creating that. I think it is. I'm not like 100% pinned down on like a specific role. I just know something. I just want to do coding, basically.
Yeah. Okay. And have you been looking at jobs, and how's the kind of application process been? Are employers impressed that you have a master's?
Yeah, I would definitely say so. The application process for me has been a bit slow. I've kind of just been focusing a bit more on, learning a new subject and
Of course, yeah.
Just kind of settling down a little bit. So I am going to be looking like after Christmas to probably start applying, but I've been like keeping an eye on Career Central and just looking to see what I can apply for. And also I continued to volunteer with the police after my placement, so I'm still doing that, and I get their like internal job board as well, so when their data analysis department puts on a job, I'll be looking at those.
Oh, that's really cool. That's really interesting. So is that volunteering open to everyone, or is that something that you went with off the back of your placement? Do you know about that?
So it was the volunteering thing is because with the police, if you want to intern with them, or the placement year thing that I did, you are classed under them as a volunteer. So because they really liked me and I was involved in kind of a lot of long-term projects, I decided to stay on, and I stayed on like volunteering with them since my placement year, which was 2-3 years ago now.
And how many hours a week is that taking you?
So the placement year was about 20 hours, but I've kind of reduced it now because the Masters is a little bit more intense day to day than the undergraduate, so I probably do around 8 to 10 hours, I think, a week.
No, that's really good experience, yeah. And when you're then kind of looking at applications for more data science focused things, what is more valuable, do you know, the Masters itself or the volunteering that you've been doing?
That's a good question. Well, I think both are valuable, but maybe in different ways. I spoke about the Masters adding like the credibility to the skills, because I think a lot of the job listings will say like data science degree or a degree in computer science or something like that, and this I think would qualify. So it kind of legitimizes things that the skills that I've been working on a bit more. Whereas the volunteering experience, I think, is like just really helpful for the experience of working, which, not like when you graduate, if you don't have any experience working, that will be harder, I think, for you to find a job than if you have a degree.
So with your degree, obviously you have both aspects, behavioural economics and the data science. So what have your modules looked like this semester, and for next semester as well? What kind of things do they give you here at UEA?
So the first semester I've had economic concepts, econometric methods, and then programming and analytics. So economic concepts starts off with like microeconomics the first half, and then the second half is macroeconomics. And then econometric methods is really just statistics, to be honest. We learn Stata, which is like a software, which is a little bit different to psychology. The psychology software that we use for statistics was a little bit more simplified, but the concepts I think are the same, like linear regression is the same. And then programming and analytics is Python, mainly using pandas for data analysis. For next semester, I've got data mining and behavioural consumer analytics, and then you can choose an optional module, which I chose information visualization.
To be confirmed on those,
Yeah.
what they're like, yeah.
Yeah, to be confirmed.
So a lot of the things this semester have been more data focused, getting everyone up to speed, the underpinning of kind of economics that we do, at undergraduate level. And that's all been, you've been able to get to grips with that pretty fast?
Yeah, so I think it took me like maybe a couple of weeks with the micro, but the micro came a lot more easier. You also get like a 2 weeks pre-sessional course, which is just like 2 weeks before the start. You do the first week is like the math skills, and then the second week is statistics, like very basic, and then you're just into economic concepts. I have nothing to compare it to, so I can't say like whether it's like a basic level, but we there is an undergraduate module, I think, in the economic concept module as well. So I would assume that it's like maybe final year level.
And are you enjoying your modules? That's the main thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very much so. I like the programming one because I know most of it already, so it's easy, so that's good. Economic concepts, even though it was a little bit like new, I still really enjoy it. I think it's a very fascinating subject. Do I have to choose between micro and macro?
the honest economics question,
Yeah. Oh no. I feel like I'm going to be judged now. I think I like macro a little bit more, but both are interesting.
Good answer.
Okay.
Okay, so final question for you then, Lucy. Have you enjoyed the Masters? Have you enjoyed the experience, and would you recommend it to others?
Yes, very much. I'm very much enjoying the experience. It's probably, I would say, it's definitely a step up, like from final year, because final year they reduce your contact hours, versus like the Masters you have a bit more contact hours, so it's more intense, but I'm enjoying it very much so, and I would recommend it.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining the podcast today. It's great to have you here, and look out for all your paper editorial things coming out soon.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you for listening to this week's NEP podcast. This semester we have more podcasts around inclusive eco, some chats with lecturers, and exciting events such as the NEP volume being released, as well as the essay competition. Thank you for listening.